and got a lot of responses from Trump supporters saying, yeah, actually, this is exactly what we voted for, and it's even better than what we thought we were going to get from this guy. I mean, Republicans are ecstatic. Welcome back to Real Clear Politics on SiriusXM. I'm Tom Bevan, co-founder and president of RCP, joined by Sean Trende. He's our senior elections analyst, our polling guru. Sean, welcome back. Always good to have you.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So let's talk about Trump's approval rating. We had a CBS News poll over the weekend that showed him with his highest approval rating ever. In that poll is 53%. In our Real Clear Politics average, we have him at 49% and 46% disapproval. We have a number of polls that have him high 40s, a couple at 50, and a couple like the CBS poll over 50. So what do you make of this, Sean? Obviously, you go back to look at when he took office in 2017. I don't think that entire time he ever had a job approval rating over 50, certainly not in our average. And I think he was only above water, meaning his approval was higher than his disapproval for like a day or two. And then he was underwater his entire presidency. So pretty dramatic shift.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt that he's getting a honeymoon this time. And I don't think many people, myself included, expected that. He's doing pretty well in the approval ratings. Like you said, it's never happened with him before. We can see how long it lasts. Most presidents get honeymoon phases, and they tend not to last very long. But right now, he's getting a second look from Americans.
Why did you not think that he would have any sort of honeymoon, or that his approval rating wouldn't be higher? What was you just thought it's going to be a rerun of 2017?
It was two things. I mean, yeah, the history was that Donald Trump does not get a honeymoon, right? People don't care for him. But it was kind of built in with the idea that, he left office very unpopular and having been unpopular, and everyone knows Donald Trump. That was one of the big things we told ourselves over and over again in the last election was, look, Trump's a known quantity. And maybe that was oversimplifying things. It seems like there are a lot of people for whom at least Trump's first term seems to be something of a memory, or they think he's grown into the job or whatever. And they're giving him that second look.
When you look at the internals of this CBS News poll, I mean, Trump's always been, I think, portrayed and projected this, sort of toughness, and and people have always said, he's a strong leader, even if they don't think he has good morals or whatever, isn't fit for the job. I mean, those have been some of the knocks on him in the past. 69% of people in this CBS News poll say he's tough. 63% say he's energetic. 60% say focused, and 58% say he's effective. Those are pretty good numbers. I mean, I suspect some of those are even people who disagree with some of the moves that he's taken. They see him as, yeah, he's really energetic this time, and he's more focused than he was last time. But generally speaking, this is he's got a whole different set of attributes that are working in his favor this time around that he didn't have last time.
Oh, that's 100% correct. I think he's more broadly viewed as favorable. Now, I have to say on some of those, I wonder how they aren't up like 90%. And whatever you want to say about the guy, he is not low energy, right? Like he is practically bouncing off the wall. So, give him credit where it's due. And I think he's getting stuff done. And I think that's kind of the main thing. Most people, the people in the Beltway see this like, oh my God, USAID is being dismantled and it does all these good things. I think most people look at this and say, huh, he's actually doing stuff. We haven't seen a president actually doing stuff in quite some time. What time does the Super Bowl start? So just the fact that he is energetic and seems to be doing things and, cutting government, which are all things that at least in the abstract people like, I think redounds to his benefit.
There was a piece in the New York Times, Sean, over the weekend by Ben Rhodes, former Obama administration official, and said the title of it was something to the effect of, "This is not what America voted for. This is not the Donald Trump that America voted for." And I tweeted that or posted that on X, and got a lot of responses from Trump supporters saying, yeah, actually, this is exactly what we voted for, and it's even better than what we thought we were going to get from this guy. I mean, Republicans are ecstatic over the first couple of weeks of this administration. and Democrats are increasingly horrified because they see all of the sacred cows being slaughtered all around them. Um, I guess part of what Trump had last time with his approval rating, he still had support from Republicans and basically no support from Democrats. But he did. It was sort of the independent vote. Seems like independents are still with him. They're hanging with him, which is what's keeping him at 50% or above. But that can't last forever, right? At some point, he's going to do something, go too far. Independents are gonna sour on him. I mean, I have to think. I mean, theoretically, it's possible they could be happy with him all the way through, but that just doesn't seem likely.
Yeah, sooner or later, Trump's going to Trump, right? I mean, he always seems to eventually get in his own way. But a lot of all the hullabaloo really is. First off, isn't Ben Rhodes the guy who bragged about how he could manipulate 23-year-old journalists into publishing
Yes.
whatever he wants? Like,
That's the same. Yes.
yeah, not the guy necessarily with the pulse on America. I think this is what a lot of Trump supporters voted for, and I think people who say this isn't what he campaigned on weren't paying attention. I mean, when he's talking about gutting the deep state and saying that I am your retribution and stuff like this is exactly what he said he was going to do. So I just think, I think Trump will stumble sooner or later. I think Democrats are overestimating how popular what he's how unpopular what he's doing is. I mean, if you ask people over and over again, what do you want to cut? The first thing people will tell you is foreign aid. And the kind of elite beltway response is always, well, there's not that much money there. And it's like, well, okay, but they still want foreign aid cut. So they're going to be happy when he cuts it. And by the way, if you don't think a couple $1 billion a year in foreign aid is much money, I can give you my address for the check. I will gladly
Right.
accept it.
Take 10% of that.
Yeah, they're right. It doesn't impact the federal budget deficit, but Americans still want it cut, and they would rather, if it has to be spent here.
Well, you talk about the popularity of the things that he ran on. Now he's implementing, obviously the deportation stuff with illegal migrants is at the top of the list, and there's pretty strong support, even certainly among independents, but even among some Democrats for that. And so I guess the Democrats, Sean, to your point, I saw a story Chuck Schumer said the other day in a story that he's just waiting for Trump to overreach, and they just have to wait for him to make his mistake, and then they'll be able to really jump in and attack him. But there's also this theory that he's just overwhelming them with all of these executive orders, and they can't stay focused because there's just too much happening, too much going on. If you were advising the Democrats, if you were advising Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, like what would you tell them? How should they respond to this onslaught of policy from Trump? Because certainly they haven't been doing a very good job thus far in terms of, finding a message to unify around.
Yeah, I think the Democrats have. This is the first failed presidency the Democrats have had to take over after since Jimmy Carter in 1980. Like both of the last two Democratic presidents left on pretty good terms. So I think the Democrats are back on their heels. And I think Chuck Schumer has the right idea, which is just look, he's the president. He's going to do stuff the first 100 days. And all we can really do is sit back. Most of what Trump's doing right now in the big picture is stuff that can be reversed with executive orders in the future, or while perhaps impactful, isn't really the stuff that Democrats typically go to the mattresses for. So we'll see. I mean, governing this large, diverse country of ours is difficult. It's very difficult to do it without sooner or later making parts of your coalition angry. So I think Schumer has the right idea. I think he can probably read a public opinion poll as well as anyone and realizes, yeah, foreign aid is not that popular. So for now, we just kind of have to sit back and let the president do what the president does.
All right, Sean, we got about a minute left, and you're a lawyer, former lawyer, I guess. And we've seen the one thing the Democrats have done, along with a bunch of, organizations, is file lawsuits. And we're seeing some of these rulings by judges that are putting the brakes on various aspects of Trump's programs, from, the Doge folks in Treasury to, deportation, some of that. So, what do you expect? I mean, is that the answer for Democrats in the short term? Is just to file a bunch of lawsuits and hope that they can somehow, get the judiciary to sort of put put some sort of, slow Trump's momentum, if you will, and bog him down in court? And do you suspect that'll be a winning strategy?
That's clearly the strategy. I don't know. I think there is a chance of a real constitutional crisis that sooner or later Trump and Vance just say. I mean, Vance has even hinted at it. They've made their ruling, let him enforce it. Some of these things really are, and some of it is not just constitutional crisis on Vance's part. The judiciary telling the executive it can't review its own files is really something else. So this is something to watch that really could explode into something major. For now, we'll see how it plays out.